They tried. We spent days, hours at police stations from here, Umuahia, Abuja. They did their best. The lawyers tried their best. But then later on, I found out what the problem was. It was Mike Okiro.
Yeah.
Of Police Service Commission.
Yeah. Former Inspector General of Police.
Was everything they had. He was a knight and a friend of the Archbishop. They would stop our cases cold, to the point that police officers had to confess. Say, our hands are tied. We can't do anything. It went as far as our involving from people's referral. We got to Mantu, a senator in Abuja, that brought us, even the priests, to his house for peace talk, and that went nowhere. I even have letter from the same senator to Okiro's office, to his home, persuading this man to listen to these people and do the needful. He refused to see me in his house. He was seeing others. I sat there until night. I left. Then he sent a note to me to see him in his office. He made sure, did not show up for a number of days. I was in Abuja waiting to see him. I never saw him today. And case was never addressed. And our paperwork, our cases, our complaints, everything are sitting in different offices at Force CID and the monitoring units.
But
at IG's office.
Madam, why did your lawyer not file a case at the court?
We did.
And?
We're in court with them. Now they're not showing up in court. And nature took care of spirit of karma. Quite a lot of the cases, because all of the 15 people we sued, I think there's only about 3 still living. Put them and their lawyers. What do you say to that? So we're standing, waiting for judgment, formal judgment these days. It went as far as, can you excuse me for a minute?
Sure.
Before the suit was filed, they also sued me. In their suit, they stated that I am or was a criminal trespasser in their property and demanded that I pay 100 million fine for stepping onto their property, which is my home, where they are fed free, utilities free, everything to their, I would say, leisure. And when I say they, people out there will think that priests are allowed to live here, or we're given this place to live. There was nothing like that. I was present during one of my vacations when one Reverend Val, I'll get the last name, was actually a chaplain, just came out of a seminary, had nothing doing, and they pleaded that he stayed here. And their reason was that Our Lady's Road, which is right there to my left, was dangerous in the evenings. Sometimes transportation for that priest was difficult from here to Holy Trinity, and pleaded that on cases when the weather is bad or it got late, when the priest comes for the moral studies of our students, that we provided them a place to stay till the next morning. This was how somebody from Holy Trinity, under the name of a priest, started residing here. That was how it happened. Then when he left, the one that succeeded him was Mokwe, Elochukwu Mokwe, Reverend Father Elochukwu Mokwe, was doing the same. Now, the third one, there's no time two priests live here at the same time. The third person, Reverend Father Benignus Ogwejofo, Benignus Ogwejofo, who was working for School of Nursing across here, officiating services for them, and actually residing at Oka, went to the Elochukwu Mokwe Reverend Father and begged him to be accommodated in one of the rooms at our guest house. Without our permission, as my mother told me, my father too, that they didn't know the guy, and when they asked, Reverend Father Elochukwu told them exactly what he told me, that the priest requested that whenever he couldn't go back to Oka, that he would allow him or avail him one of the rooms, since he himself was in just one of the rooms, In the morning, we will go to School of Nursing, Anambra State School of Nursing, opposite us, and say mass for them and other things that had to do with moral studies. That was it. Later, we found out that everything was actually arranged from Holy Trinity offices, Office of the Registered Trustees of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Onitsha. He was the super agent that was planted here to work with my mother's secretary by name, Oliver Bonye from Mbise. Married to my mother's maid, also planned and orchestrated from that same office. The cardinal was aware of it, and the cardinal actually made the plan according to the Oliver Bonye when things started unfolding. Later, I found out documents which revealed that the Oliver did not actually come to work for my mother. He married the maid to be close enough for him to lay hands on our documents, especially those that were under the custody of the wife, who was my mother's maid. And from there, they got access to some of our documents, altered and forged signature to claim that a gift was given to the Archdiocese. This was how the Reverend Father Benignus Ogwejofo started the perpetration of evil here. He was never meant to live here, not with our knowledge, not with our permission. Nobody ever told my parents. We were regarding him as someone brought in by a fellow priest on as-need basis, not to stay here permanently. But then he ended up being the chief agent that not only fought us, they bribed police through him. I saw with my own eyes. He employed unlicensed security, local security men with unlicensed guns that they were using against us. And in one of the incidences, which I will detail later to you, the gun was confiscated from them in one of the police search from Zone 9 in Umuahia that responded to our distress call and was under investigation as to what was happening here. And from their statements, the statements of those local vigilante people and Mama's ex-workers, they labeled their catechists. Their statement was very clear. They confessed that police, who sent them, and who was paying the vigilantes, and how the gun were purchased. They have given evidence in court. Police, in one of the cases, the criminal case, as to how the gun got to their hands, how they were caught in action with the guns, and how we ended up with a criminal case in police. But that priest, till this day I'm talking to you, has not shown up in court one day. But as God will have it, after so many years, over 10 years now, the lawyer who told me to my face that there's no way this entity, us, my mother, I, will win the Catholic Church in her court. Her name, Justice Ndiwe of Ugidi High Court. She's still there till today. And on the day that she told me this, she actually called me off my seat and beckoned me to come close to her bench. As I was coming, she shouted, "Stop there!" Actually, I went before, I don't know, I was just following their orders. And she was telling me this with warning in front of everybody in court. But unfortunately for her that day, there was a media group around and captured it and put it on the newspaper and on social media. I read it myself via internet. That's one of the publications that went viral. This is just to cut the long story short, but that's to tell you that none of these priests were invited here as a place given to them, as a permanent place for them. They were called by my mother or my father, most of the time in writing, to please come and offer moral studies or say mass for the Catholic portion of our boarding house students and factory workers. Never to come and possess, destroy, kill, and declaring the owners visitors and criminals as they did. So I repeat what I had told you earlier. Everything I'm telling you has either video, some type of pictorial evidence, or written evidence. Nothing you have to look for to justify anything that comes out of my mouth.
Now back to the story of Oliver. She said Oliver was never made secretary by her mom. He was working for a brewery industry and had plans to marry Martina, the maid. Late Chief Mrs. Justina started using the services of Oliver for her typings and other secretarial works because he was learned. Oliver, according to Onuorah, stole all the land documents and made them available to the Catholic Archdiocese of Onitsha. Martina, according to Onuorah, stole money from the school funds in collaboration with her husband. This was discovered when her late mother needed just 2,000 naira, but it was not to be found. And before Martina could make an escape, like her husband, the search was made and Martina was found with over 600,000 naira in cash in the room she stayed next to her late mother's. According to Lady Onuorah, Martina was a very close person to her late mother. She was in fact in relationship with her late mother like a daughter would be to a mother. Martina, out of shame, requested to be taken to the hospital by her daughter, who lamented that the Onuorahs were harassing her mother. The daughter, however, was shown the documents showing a transfer of 400,000 naira to Martina. Out of shame, they left supposedly for the hospital and have never come back. But according to Onuorah, the documents have been recovered. She said Oliver had 5 offices, different rooms within the compound, which he used to carry out his fraudulent activities. It was in one of these offices that they found the documents and papers where Oliver practiced falsification of her late mother's signature. One could go on and on and on. But this story highlights a situation where a family was dispossessed forcefully of their prized possessions. And when we say dispossessed, they were not dispossessed by outsiders. They were dispossessed by clergymen. Diaspora Digital Media is happy to bring this to the fore of the public so that everyone is conscious and cautious about his or her relationship with anybody, not minding the position or the classification or the qualification. Be you Christian or a non-Christian, Diaspora Digital Media is saying there should be an element of humanness in our dealings with other people. The story of the Onuorahs highlights the fact that we are but humans after all. One who is greedy may not be veiled by vestments or anything that has to do with religion. We will keep you up to date with every other thing, with developments that have to do with the Onuorahs and the case on ground. Stay tuned for more updates on the Onuorahs.
Well, fortunately, we were able to gain entry into the factory because the key holder just returned. So this gives us a glimpse into what used to be the factory of Our Lady's Bread. Here is under lock and key. Empty spaces. Yes. Empty spaces. What are we living for? Abandoned places. On and on. Does anybody know what we are living for? Yeah, this used to be leftover of the pans from the bakery. This is inside what used to be the bakery. Inside what used to be the bakery. I remember those days when Our Lady's Bread was the darling of the Igbo land. Those days we returned from Niger State and we must have a bite of it, enough bite of it, not a bite before we leave. But what do we have? This machinery has been vandalized and abandoned to rot away. Mrs. Onuorah, I don't know how she will be feeling when she looks at this structure. Okay.
Okay, this is the factory premise. This whole area and the building in yellow and green comprises of the factory. Building was inclusive in what that must now come to. The restrooms that I was talking about, that's virtual when we get there. But anyway, when I saw what the Akam was doing, I blocked the areas you saw from behind and reversed this place to face here instead of facing the other way, and started using it as packing store for the bread factory. But it was part of what the guy was claiming. Now, this is a full factory of its own for a certain type of bread. This one is the main factory. On the day that the church chased us out of this place, Archbishop Valerian Okeke, this room, this room was in full operation in producing bread. As well as the rooms, two others after that one. Bread was in full production. Then, the product of the day before were being loaded in many vehicles around here. And,
sit down.
And
What is it?
the vans were full of bread already. And the drivers were about to go. All of a sudden, gunmen, 6, pushed this place open and came in here. Rushed into the factory entrance, chased after the drivers, even the people that were buying bread. People took to their heels. Their guns had a red ribbons or red cloth at the end of it. They were raggedly dressed, and from what they were wearing, it was obvious that they had already vandalized our staff dormitories and hostels, wearing their clothes, the ones they've beaten up and chased out. But the factory people did not know what was happening then. So now let's move over here. Let me show you.
Okay.
This is Captain.
There was a.
One of the serious victims of this,
Sad.
as well as long. Okay, so this place was open when they came. They rushed in here, started shooting, and some people ran that way. Some ran into these rooms, and at some point, I don't know how some very smart ones got up to the ceiling, leaning flat on these ceilings.
Okay.
The ovens are no more. That was storage. And this whole place had, if we go closer, you see from where the machines were cut off. So this whole place was just slicing and wrapping bread. Wrapping sliced bread. If it's not sliced, it will be on the other side. So I was the one that's putting up the Sundays to a restaurant. This used to be our storage.
Storage. Used to be the storage.
You've noticed this all around.
Mm-hmm.
Can't lift any of the table that she was using. You cannot see them because, I was uprooting the machines and cementing them, stopping them from touching. But there was 33 of them.
33 what?
Of the machines that were buried here. and in the next building. And so all around here in rows for slicing and packaging of bread. When we were producing up to 300 a day, morning shift, afternoon shift, and night shift each did 100 bags. Okay. That's what I wanted to share about this place.
Okay. The irony is that not that these damages were done, but that they were done in the name of God and in the name of the Catholic Church, claiming that the property now belongs to the Catholic Church, while actually the three clerics mentioned already were only struggling to dispossess the owner and take possession of her property.
That's a gas tank.
This is the gas tank. Gas tank. Claiming someone's property in the name of God and in the name of church. I have to go in everywhere. The destruction is self-evident. The destruction is self-evident. Yeah?
This is part of the factory. It's two sections, this section and the inner section.
This place can best be described as a smart city. Smart city is a city with all social and amenities to sustain life. The only thing we have not seen here is a police station, but it has a school, has hospital, has hostels, it has church. So by any definition, this was a smart city, but it has been destroyed. This used to be a smart city. It has hospital, it has church, it has school, it has residential areas, boarding for the students. Whatever you thought of could be found here. Whatever you thought of to sustain life. My colleague is already targeting the mango, but he was disappointed. I said it. I knew it. The interesting thing is not just that it is a smart city, but that it was envisioned when smart cities never occurred to Nigerians.
This is a cyber cafe area.
Cyber cafe.
And that was the other section was a stationery store for students.
It also has shops that sells materials for students.
Yes, here used to be our primary. Let me show you. Important to know that this place was functional when I got here, before the fight. Sometimes they would come in and shoot and break things, just destroy it and leave, from door to furniture, to ceilings and everything. This was the primary section.
And when exactly did you, what do you mean, when I came in, when exactly was
I
that?
got here in 2012, when my mother called me.
2012.
Yes.
Okay. So as at 2012, here was still very functional.
Very functional. And stayed functional until the shooting and the takeover. But my mother had called, like I said, the distress call, to tell me that strange things were happening and that it was better for her to run away, tell me that I should not come back here because it's not safe. But I thought she was maybe hallucinating from my father's death or something, being alone or sick. I just didn't know what to think until I got here physically and received the papers that were served me as a criminal trespasser, demanding 100 million from me. So I understood that.
Trespassing in your own.
In my own place, where I left from and where I was serving the clergy. These were teachers' staff room. It was on all the ends. The convenience is that. This is just for nursery. As you can see, it was set to be taken out.
On our way here, we thought it is something that will take an hour or two max. But now it's 4 p.m.
Children's convenience.
This is 4 p.m. And according to Madam Onuorah, we have not yet started. We have only taken one part. So it seems. Hey. This is the nursery part, and this is the continuation.
Older students. This is the beginning of the primary 2 after primary 1. And then the higher classes are on the other side. So this is just primary 1 class. It was partitioned. Around here at that time, as different groups will come with guns, our security men will be running for their lives. Sometimes they will be fighting physically with people struggling for guns. Most of the time it will be police.
And you say sometimes at a point there were more than one group, up to 3 groups coming from different 3 different clerics.
Yes, the second group was after this building and that upstairs under Reverend Father Sigo, that was still based at Abuja area. We actually stored things that some of them are still there, and brought in a Reverend sister to keep it. I will not let that happen. So when the woman saw that I had points in what I was presenting, she packed out. Also, the biggest issue they had with me was that women they were bringing in here was too much, and sometimes they went after Father. The one I caught red-handed was Father Elochukwumokwe and his women here, and of course I will not let them be here peacefully, because it was wrong as I presented to them. We're here raising young children, and you're having this type of immoral behaviors around here, and that we will not allow that. Or suspend some of the girls. Then I found out that each time we suspend them, the priest will pay for their relocation and put them someplace else. You know, and they'll still try to come in and visit the priest in here, and we will not allow that. But you cannot, they refuse for us to discipline the girls they were attached to. But to pick girls out of our boarding house that are here for studies, they realize it will not happen here. So they had problems.
Pure water factory used to be the pure water factory, but has been reduced to nothing. I wonder what could be the cost of the damages here if they were to be put in writing or on record. This is the factory, destroyed, vandalized, and fast dilapidating. This used to be people's means of livelihood, but not anymore. Like I said earlier, this was a smart city ahead of its own time. This is a smart city ahead of its time. Now left to rot away. Aerial view. Aerial view. This used to be people's sustenance. Hundreds of workers used to live and work here before the cold hand of avarice and greed met them. It is shocking as it is unbelievable. Broken down, smashed to pieces, stolen, vandalized, destroyed. I mean, no amount of words can qualify the damage I have witnessed here. No amount of words can capture what I have seen here. This used to be the restroom for visitors.
One of our workers actually almost lost his life because he slipped, and that day happened to be payday. His money and everything fell into the drain, and even himself was carried away. But being a grown man, he was able to grip on something and stand up. But he lost all his money and wallet and phone. Now, when I was repairing this or introducing this unit, one Reverend Father, Mokwe, that was staying here, the only one then, came with a lady. They parked by there and came out of the vehicle and started questioning why I was
Constructing a drainage?
on church ground, who gave me the right, and that they were going to inform the bishop that I'm working here, and they were to find out if I was authorized by the Archbishop to be doing any work in this place. I didn't say much to them. I just continued my work. But shortly after, the bishop sent a group of people here. Many, including amongst them were late Reverend Monsignor Obiuku, Reverend, what's his name again? Reverend Monsignor Aswanya, and one that said he was the chancellor, by name Patrick, I don't know the last name. Then a group of young members, Catholic Youth Organization of Nigeria, a group of men stated they were MOD, Men of Order and Discipline, women from CWO, Christian Women Organization, and CMO, Christian Men Organization, all landed here. They invited me, I and my mom, to come to...
Oh, mom was still alive then.
Everything happened, everything I'm telling you, she witnessed. You know, everything has completed. She witnessed everything to the last court date prior to our filing for a transfer, which I'll get to later. So we sat together. My cousin Lawrence Owansai was there too. And they told me that The purpose of the meeting was to find out why I was working on church here, and also that they brought a letter from the Archbishop, which was meant for I and my mom, and that they were also going to mark the areas that belong to them as a result of what they plan to achieve for that meeting. So my answer to them was that first of all, I had every right to work in any place in this compound because it belongs to my family. Secondly, that I don't need permission from any one of them because they have no business with us here except when they were invited for either moral studies or to say mass or any religious activity. That made them very upset, of course. And they mentioned that they come with hoes and shovels and stuff to put up some trees or a fence or whatever they could do by hand and by themselves without involving any contractor to demarcate the parts of this compound that belong to them. And so my response was that they could not do any such thing in a private property, and that since they came in group, they must give my mother and I another meeting appointment so that we'll bring our families in, because I stated that I saw that whatever whomsoever they had brought that time, I'll call it member of their congregation or family or however, but we needed to bring our own group to stand behind us before they could say anything to my mother. And I told my mother that she didn't need to respond to any questioning they were posing to her at that time. The reason I said that to her was that they started asking her questions about me, my education, whether I had children or not, where I was, what I schooled, my major and stuff like that. And I told them that was not their place to ask. I was a grown-up standing or stood there behind, in front of them that could answer for myself. And those questions they brought up that day, they repeated in court. And I seized the opportunity to answer those questions in court. So it's on record too.
Okay. All right. This, as you can see, is a brand new transformer after the previous one was vandalized.
We were frustrated. Nobody knew the plans of the church. So some of the rooms got rented out, only for us to find out later that the people living here were agents of the Catholic Church. And at some point, one of the family members stopped paying rent. And when Mama approached her about rent, she will refer Mama to Father Mwokwe, the same priest I told you about. And the priest will state that she's exempted from paying rent because she was one of their evangelists. And we don't understand what they meant by that, what kind of evangelism. The woman was here bringing in strange people in here, even those that were selling drugs. And when they were reported to police, the woman took off. Then we gave them eviction notice. At the time she was giving eviction notice, she had 14 people living here that we didn't know about, but the Father Mwokwe knew about that. So I sent a report to Gidi police station, and they charged my complaint to court because to justify my concern, the woman, her children, the husband were caught with a truckload of metal products, including machine parts from bread, from our vehicles, and any other rods iron item they could find.
They could lay hands on.
And if you look down, there's a gate down there
Yeah.
that they opened and were operating through that gate. So we did not know that they were making away with that much of metal items here, costing millions of naira. So when we found out, I demanded that they vacated this place. They refused because they had the priests and archdiocese back up. So I went to Menat, brought some media people to interview them. No, prior to that, I had won the case in court where they were given order to vacate this place. Then Father Mokwe went to the police station. However he did it, I don't know, but it is illegal. I know that much, to reverse the order. And see that the primary 6 was big. That will tell you about the number of students that were here. That building in front was the headmaster's and headmaster's office. When it was functioning. Behind it was the primary school center hall. Their main hall. They did their graduations and all activities there. And outside institutions used to come here for meetings and exams. Like that nursing school across the street was there for exams. They rent the hall for exams. Dilapidation. I told you the number was very massive. And these are continuations of the classrooms and library for the primary school.
Students were forcefully evacuated, properties damaged and abandoned to rot.
It has two extensions. If you look here on the wall, you see a little bit about what I'm telling you. Permanently marked on the stage board up there.
A brief history of Our Lady's Model Primary School, Mboro. Date opened, founded 14th October 1991. Founders, proprietors, Chief F.O. Onuorah, Igwe Mmadụ, and Mrs. J.U. Onuorah. Uchendo Umuogbe. Admission of pupils, elementary 1 to 6. Admitted in 1991-1992. Date of approval by Anambra State Government, Ministry of Education, 11 February 1992. Secretary General of Our Ladies Center, Brother Oliver O. Akponye JP. First school manager, Mr. V.I. Onyeogubal. ACE, BED Ons. Chief ED, Officer, retired 1991. First headmaster, P.O. Ebue, KSM, TS2. Retired 1981. Second headmaster, Mr. B.C. Ifezuoka.
We had classes here too, like for overflowing classes. They'll set up their classes here. Extension of the classes were here for the primary school. I think there's something here. The classes range from like primary 1 will go to primary 1A to Z. A, B, C, D to Z. That's 26. Then primary 2 will also go from primary 2A, 2B to Z. And 3 the same, 4 the same, 5 the same, and 6 that was in that building the same. They range from A to Z. 26 classes, and each one had a minimum of 34. They're on the wall. Some of them are still legible, that you can see. There's actually one of the pillars that still has the whole class. If not in this building, it will be in the other building.
Okay.
Okay, it's in the primary 2D. Number on row. 30-something is here. Boys, they had a number. Girls, they had a number. Just to give you an idea. All the pillars have that time. For some reason, I don't know who took the time to erase it, because I know this one was very clear the last time I took people around. It was recently erased. And if you look behind, you see the mineral toilet, urinary, bath, bathrooms after sports and stuff, all the way down. All that to the end are toilets. In front of you, extension of the primary section. That should be holding primary 3 something. Entrance is there for the 2. I just put up these plates to make it look decent. Everything was really bad. After 12 years of being in fight with the architect.
All these were classrooms, deserted.
19 boys and 28 girls. Elementary 2A.